Hey guys.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Hey guys.
Hi. We are in someone's home, so we are trying to be a little quieter tonight. I hope you can hear us.
Yeah, it would be best if you could hear us.
Yeah, okay. I'll be braver. I'll speak a little louder. So we are on the floor in our room, like on a tatami mat floor, coming to you from like our futons.
You should be able to see the floor back here, right?
Yeah.
It's like a traditional Japanese home floor.
If you are new to our videos, we start them off with the highlights of the day so that you can get a quick idea of what we've done. We're in Japan, and still in Japan, and then after we do the highlights, we jump back and kind of give a little more detail. But today was mainly a travel day, so we're not going to have a ton to share with you. But I guess that's the first highlight is that we left Kyoto today.
Exactly. Second highlight is when we got to where we were going, which is Nachikatsuura. And we decided for this lodging place to... I keep forgetting. We decided for this lodging place to do an Airbnb where we booked a private room in a place. And typically when we search Airbnbs, we do want to like book the whole place, so we don't have to talk to anybody. But in this case, looking at reviews, like this host was very highly rated, and she didn't disappoint. She's been very friendly. We can talk more about her later, but it was great to meet her, and we're staying in her house.
And she picked us up from the station.
Yeah, she did.
Which was really nice.
Yeah. And recommended the place that we had for dinner.
Yeah.
That we went for dinner.
Like a little local ramen place. I guess tuna is really popular here, but we weren't feeling that. So she asked if we liked ramen. We do. And yeah.
We like one specific ramen.
We like one ramen. No.
But now we like two.
Yeah, it was so good. And yeah, just a tiny little like local spot.
Yeah, so small.
That was great. Are those our highlights?
Those are the highlights.
Those are the highlights today. So if you're just here for the highlights, you can jump off. Thanks so much for watching.
You got off easy tonight.
And for those of you who want more details, we're going to start those now.
And those will take exactly 2 minutes longer than the highlights did.
Yeah, there's not a lot. We were really just a big travel day.
Yeah.
It took a long time to get here. Okay, so we left our hotel, our amazing hotel in Kyoto, and made it to, we had to travel to Kyoto Station. So we had to, I don't know, did that take 1 or 2 trains?
It was 2 trains to get to Kyoto Station.
Yeah.
And then there we needed to find the JR desk again because we were going to travel on the Shinkansen train.
Using our rail passes.
The JR rail passes.
And if you're on the Shinkansen, it's recommended by them and us that you get a reserved seat. It's free to do that. So you just have to go to their counter.
Which means first you have to find the counter.
Yeah. So that took a little bit of doing.
Yeah, dragging our suitcases through a very busy station, looking for a counter that did not have signs.
And was not on the floor that we were originally on, so that was part of it.
Yeah.
And then
There may have been a little confusion at that counter.
Yeah.
When we talked to her, she said that we needed like 3 legs of our trip, but she only gave us 2 reserved tickets. And the station that she said that she was sending us to wasn't actually the station that we needed to get to.
Yeah.
We're not entirely sure what happened
like,
there.
It might have been legitimate that she couldn't book that last leg of the trip because part of the trip, it's interesting. Like, even though we were using our JR passes, there was definitely a portion of that rail that was not run by the JR company. And so we had to like pay extra while we were on the train for this other like portion of our route. Yeah. And like maybe she really couldn't book us through the end. Like I said, it's unclear.
Yeah. The impression that I've gotten of the rail system is that it's actually a collection of a bunch of smaller companies who have like over the years are like now refer to themselves as Japan Rail, but they're still different companies. So there are sections of the railway that do require an additional fee on top of your pass, even if you have a pass.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Susan. Thanks for watching. Let's see.
So
we're
probably some confusion at the counter.
Yeah.
Then we headed. Oh, but like right at that point when we walked across the way and got food.
Yes, there was another one of those amazing bakeries with the tongs. Go around and grab all the things you want. So we grabbed some food because we hadn't had breakfast, and we knew we were in for several train rides. I think once we were at Kyoto, our first train was a little after noon, like 12:07 or.
At Kyoto, it was 11:59.
Oh, yeah, okay, 11:59. So right around noon, and we were not going to get into our final destination until around 5:30, and we had not eaten anything.
Yeah.
So we were like, maybe we need food for this trip.
There was a handy bakery right across from the office.
Yeah. So got food, found our train. Is that all we're talking about from the station? I think that might be all we're talking about from the station.
I mean, we had a bit of an adventure there.
We did. Do you want me to tell it?
Yeah.
Okay. We were on an escalator and we heard a really loud noise behind us and looked back, and people were like falling backwards down the escalator. It was pretty scary.
Like dominoes.
And especially because if you are on an escalator and you have luggage, like you can't really do anything.
Yeah, like people running into luggage running into people.
And they were probably like halfway down the escalator from us. So it wasn't like we were in the vicinity to immediately help. But we got off the escalator, kind of like threw our stuff to the side, and there was like it was like a family. Right, they were all related, right?
I think there were several together. Yeah,
there was definitely a group that was like related. But there was a woman,
a very elderly Japanese woman.
Yeah, like definitely like a mom or grandma of the group, and she had fallen back, and someone I think in her family, I don't know, was kind of like holding on under her arms, like she hadn't regained like standing yet, and it was definitely like there was a lot of distress. And as they got closer to the escalator, like the man who was holding her was like calling for help, and so we were trying to like figure out what would be the most helpful. And
yeah, it's like you don't want to start running down an escalator to like this like mess that's like on it, that's
already unstable. And we also like weren't sure like how hurt she was, so you don't want to just start like grabbing, but luckily he was actually able to communicate like what he needed help with. So he asked for like he needed help like grabbing her legs to like make sure she could get off the escalator. So I think like Jared helped her like upper body, and I like grabbed her legs, and we got her off the escalator.
I pulled her up to standing, and Katrina made sure her feet were no longer on the escalator.
Yeah. And then at that point she had like a large enough group of people with her. We definitely saw a wheelchair. I'm gonna assume it's hers. Like maybe she wasn't using obviously not using the wheelchair on the escalator. But yeah, it was pretty scary, and it was like loud, and yeah, we hadn't come across that before. Yeah. It was pretty dramatic.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody fall on an escalator.
Ooh, yeah, and it was definitely like
those things be scary.
Yeah, it was kind of scary. But she seemed, she's
probably a little worse for wear, but it didn't seem like there were really dramatic injuries.
Right. Yeah. It seems like maybe her family cushioned her fall, which is maybe good. So yeah, but that was
she did fall on an escalator full of people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because these train stations are really busy. So that was the train station. We got on our first train on our reserved seats. This one was only about an hour or so. This wasn't very long.
It wasn't.
Hour and a half? Hour?
34 minutes, maybe?
Oh, was maybe
it?
That? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this one was
You were the one that said how long it was.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this one was pretty short, like 37 minutes or something like that. Yeah,
when we got on, it said that it was a super express, and it did go real fast.
I did. It went very fast.
So it got us from Kyoto to Nagoya real fast.
Basically, enough time for us to eat our lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we got off the train. When you, like, the timing to get off these trains, it's like they're really it's so interesting because on the buses, some of the buses have signs that are like, don't get up until the bus stops, but on the train they're pretty much telling you like, get all your stuff and be ready to jump off this train. So so we got off the train.
When the train got to us in Kyoto, it arrived at 11:56 for an 11:59 departure, and we really had just enough time to walk in, find our seats, put our luggage up in the rack.
And like as we're sitting down, the train's pulling away.
Exactly. Like the train's pulling away, like as I'm sitting into my seat. So yeah, they like in and out real fast.
So then we had to switch trains. Got to our new platform. The train was already sitting there, and that's where we saw them like clean the train, right?
Yeah.
So the train was already sitting there, but it was still like maybe another
17 minutes.
Yeah, 15-ish minutes before we were scheduled to leave. And we saw people go on. They put up a little sign that was like, we're cleaning the train. And so it was kind of neat to see them like turn over the train like that. We hadn't come across that.
Yeah, they had everybody get off. They had it cleared out. I assumed that they must have had people who were already on there just get off and then get back on. But... yeah, from there, so we got on that train.
That was our longer train, longer leg.
Yeah, several, like
three and a half. Yeah, it was like 3.5.
3.5 hours. Yeah, so one thing we mentioned earlier in the highlights, this was the section of the train where we had to pay extra on top of our, that was during the highlights, right?
Yeah, I think so.
We had to pay extra on top of our Japan Rail pass that we already had. So a conductor came through and looked at our tickets where we were headed and told us how much it would be, and we had to pay him in cash.
In cash.
Specifically in cash, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't make it sound like, oh my gosh, what if we didn't have cash? Because really, like, everything on this trip has been in cash.
Yeah.
But, you know, I suppose there's always a possibility someone can get on the train and not have enough cash.
I feel like I've had more cash transactions in the past like week and a half than I have in the past couple of years.
Oh yeah,
in the US.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like for all purchases, like you don't even.
Yeah, it's all cash.
It's like it's not even worth it to even try to find out if a place will take a card. Just everything's in cash. So we paid for that. Got off. At our station and
at Shingo, and this is where the confusion starts. Yeah, because
we knew the train had one more stop, and it was where we needed to go.
Yeah,
but our ticket wasn't through there.
Yeah, the reserve ticket was only reserved through Shingo. So in any case, we decided to get off the train because that's when our ticket, like that's when our spots were reserved to, and we were at a little station. There was a lot of discussion back and forth, like eventually like exited the platform and then like talked
since it was so tiny, it looked really weird for us to just still be standing on the platform.
They could see everything that was happening. Yeah. And then we talked to them and then we got back on the platform.
And then we realized we were on the wrong platform.
Yeah. And then we weren't sure for sure that it's like the signs that said that that's where we're supposed to be, but it seemed like that would be going the wrong direction. And it was too far to run back and forth.
Yeah.
So then I asked the guard, and he said that was actually the case. And we went over there and waited. And
so this was like a smaller local train. So instead of being like one stop away, like the other train was, now we had like another like seven stops to go the one more station over, or like what would have been one more station.
Like 7 stops. Slower train. So it's like the closer we get to our destination, the slower we go.
Yeah, we started on a really fast train and went on a medium fast train, and now we're on like a super slow local train. So then we know we're getting close to our destination. The place that we are calling, or we were going, is called Nachi, and so like Nachi Station pops up, and I don't know if we were just distracted or what.
It all happened very fast, and suddenly we were standing on the platform. We stood up to try to leave. The doors didn't open. A very kind old man was like, "Nachi?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he like gestured us to the front of the car. So it turns out that there was like a conductor person standing at the front of the car in case anybody wanted to get off, and you had to like swipe your card to get out of the train. And then we're standing there on the platform, and I'm like, I don't think this is where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Katrina's like, "Should we get back on the train?" And it's like, are we really going to get back on that train where we just made, like, everybody wait for us?
Like, we've probably thrown them off schedule at this point.
Yeah.
Because we had to walk a car and a half to get off. And,
so we didn't get back on the train. So then the
door shut and the train pulled away. And we got a message from our host saying she was at the station. But, you know, the right...
station that we weren't going to be at.
The right station.
I'd been in communication with our host via Airbnb, like... throughout the trip, and she had volunteered to come and pick us up from the station, which is incredibly nice. And then I had to message her and be like, "Hey, sorry, we're at the station instead. We can catch another train. She's like, I'll be there because it's like a 7-minute drive or something.
So nice.
So she came and picked us up. We met her. Her name is Maru, and she's lovely.
Yeah. Before she took us back to her place, she like drove us around town and gave
like,
us like a little.
Show you my town.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you my town, and like pointed out some of her favorite spots and just some of the highlights of the town. Showed us where the bus stop was. She knew what our plans for tomorrow were, and so she's like, "You're gonna need a bus." She's like, "You're gonna need bus 31. It's over here." It was like, "Oh my god!"
You were paying attention.
Oh,
I'd forgotten that by now.
So yeah, like it was so nice, and then she like drove us to her place and kind of like described the directions from the station to her place as she was driving, so that we would know how to like get there on foot. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she was really great. We were chatting with her in the car, and apparently she's spent the past 3 years traveling before coming back to where she grew up. She went to 70 countries. 70 countries. 70. In the past 3 years. Just amazing.
Yeah. And she, she asked us questions about our trip and wanted to know where we had been, and she's awesome. Yeah, she's totally a super host, Sarah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
So we picked, like we mentioned in the highlights, that we normally, when we do Airbnbs, we usually select places where we have the whole accommodation to ourselves. But we did actually think like the reviews were so great for her, and that we're in like a really small town.
It's very small.
She was even like, "How did you even know to come here?" So we just thought it would be a really nice experience in a small town to like stay in a home, like hosted by someone. And so yeah, that's how we ended up here. And yeah, the reviews didn't lie. She's great.
Yes.
So we got to her house and dropped off our stuff, and then she gave us a recommendation for dinner. Yeah, am I skipping anything there?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, she had. She recommended a little ramen place that was next to a Lawson, which is one of the convenience store chains here that we're a big fan of. We're basically a big fan of any convenience store here. So she gave us a recommendation for a ramen place, which was music to our ears because the alternative
was tuna.
Was
apparently,
like
probably raw tuna. Yeah. This place is like, she said it's known for tuna. Like, has one of the largest tuna.
She said
markets.
The largest tuna market in the world. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
in this tiny little town.
Haven't fact checked it, but that's what we were told.
And the ramen place was walkable from her place, and so we walked over there. A tiny little shop, just a little little L-shaped counter and one table.
Yeah.
The woman there put us at the table and was able to.
She could say ramen and rice in English.
Yes, and we said ramen,
which was, I mean, ramen I suppose is in Japanese.
Yeah.
And
she was able to get it across.
Yeah.
And we were able to place our order.
Yep.
And she called out the order to the guy behind the counter. He started making our food.
It didn't take very long.
No, it did not. And we used that time to actually I was gonna say decode.
Yeah.
To translate
the menu.
The menu on the wall, and found out they had gyoza as well. So we called her over and ordered some of that, and it was all delicious. It was really good.
One thing that was really fun is like partway through when we were eating or when we had our food, like some other people came in, like 3 people that clearly like the shop people knew them and they knew the shop people, and they came in kind of like they were taking their regular spots and ordered food, and then later like another 3 or 4 people came in, and then all the
like it became packed.
Yeah, exactly. All the spots at the table were done. We ended up sitting there a little longer. Like we had finished our food but couldn't figure out how we were supposed to get our check.
We couldn't see her. Like you typically just call someone over. But I legitimately couldn't see her.
Yeah,
I don't
she
know.
was like on the other side of a tall counter,
or like potentially in the back. I don't know. So as soon as we saw her, we called her over. But when we left, there was like people waiting outside, like waiting to get in.
There were like 5 or 6 people outside.
Probably people thinking we want that table.
Yeah, looking in through the window at us sitting at a table for 6.
4. I think it was a 4-person table. 4 stools.
Yeah, but no, I think there were 6 stools. It was a 4-person table.
Okay.
But I think there were 6 stools.
Anyway.
We may never know.
Yeah, but we were at like the biggest table for just the two of us.
Yeah.
But it was delicious. It was really good.
It was very good.
So that's very...
It kind of restored my faith, at least in ramen. We'd had Ippudo, which was amazing, and then we had another place.
Yeah, we gambled on another place, and it wasn't as good.
It was actually kind of bad.
Yeah.
But this was great. It was what I would have expected out of ramen. It's similar to Ippudo, but slightly different, but also good.
Yeah, it's tasty. And then we crossed the street over to the convenience store to pick up some dessert and snacks.
Got some really great mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was like a cup that like was in the... They have like freezer cases of ice cream, like like chest freezer kind of things, and it's like in a clear like plastic cup, and it was a parfait.
Yeah, like an ice cream parfait.
Oh, it was so good.
It was perfect.
It was just what we wanted.
Yep.
Then we came back to the house.
Yep.
Ate our ice cream.
And
hung out in the room.
Now we're here.
Yeah. And I think that's all the interesting stuff that happened today.
That's it.
So yeah, like I said, not a lot happened today because it's travel.
Just a long time on trains and finding new places.
Yeah, this place is like a little out of the way, like
a lot out of the way.
Yeah. But we thought it'd be worth it. So I guess we can report back tomorrow on whether or not this little side trip was worth it or not. Mm-hmm. So
all right,
more to come.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Oh.